Hello and welcome to the Wilderness of Creativity, a platform for creatives to share their stories of survival. This isn't a show about going viral, optimizing your output, or trending your way to success. With the help of my guests, we explore what it actually means to take the road less travelled. The uncertainty, the messiness, the vulnerability, and the courage to move away from the expectations that perhaps no longer seem fit for purpose. Creativity shows up in everything that we do. It's how we form and sustain our friendships and intimate relationships. It's how we work and communicate, how we parent, love, and our deepest desires. If you are quietly questioning the path that you're on or feel a little lost in the wilderness, welcome. You can subscribe to the podcast on your favourite platform, and you can also find us over on YouTube and Substack. Right, let's get to the episode. What is inspiration, really? Is it a lightning bolt of an idea, a sudden flash of genius that strikes out of nowhere? Or is it something quieter, something that waits patiently, sits with us until the right conditions, the right experiences, or the right people are in place before it's noticed? Last week on the podcast, I chatted to Corinne Carr about her inspired idea to address a safeguarding issue for independent childminders. It was something she simply couldn't stop thinking about. It kept nudging her, tapping her on the shoulder, until eventually she took the brave step of turning it into reality. That conversation really stayed with me because it highlighted something really important. Inspiration doesn't always arrive with fireworks. Sometimes it arrives as persistence, as discomfort, as a thought that refuses to leave you alone. So, my first question to you is, what's nudging you at the moment? Today's episode is about inspiration, where it comes from, and what it asks of us, and why creating can sometimes feel like such a responsibility, especially when we are aware that not everyone has the privilege of time, space, or safety to create. I am inspired by people's willingness to be vulnerable. I'm inspired by their resilience, by their humour, by our shared human ability to create, an ability that so often relies on environment and attention, and our willingness to heed the invitation when it arrives. The topic for today didn't arrive fully formed. Surprise, surprise. It came in drips and drabs in the moments in between, yes, my life of working as a teacher and parenting. So where does inspiration come from? As you may have heard in previous episodes, I do love a good library trip. Recently, I have been reading Everyone is Creative by Guy Armitage. And the premise isn't that everyone needs to be an artist, although I truly do believe that we all are in some way, but that creativity is a human function. It's problem solving, empathy, interpretation, and storytelling. In chapter 3, titled Hunting for Fairies, which I love, Guy shares that the ancient Greeks believed that inspiration came from 9 semi-clothed women who whispered ideas into our ears. A lovely image, isn't it? But it does make you wonder, did we once believe that ideas would simply show up? I guess it's a bit like the old saying of don't go looking for love. It will find you when you least expect it. But inspiration isn't really a thing, is it? So what is it exactly? Guy suggests that creativity shows up when we choose to engage rather than consume. And once we accept that, inspiration becomes much more practical and much more accessible. At the end of the chapter, he shares 6 reflections. I'm not going to cover them all today, but I will offer them as food for thought this week, and I'll pop a link to the book in the show notes. Number 1, you can't make imagination, but you can create an environment in which imagination can thrive. 2, diverse experiences fuel imagination. Listen back to any of my guest conversations and you'll hear how lived experience shapes choices and creations. 3, we need to actively seek out new ideas in the digital world, not just scroll past them. 4, strong emotions shouldn't be wasted. They need to be acknowledged, If you read this week's Substack, you'll know I've got some thoughts about the phrase, I'm fine. 5, visiting new places can unlock new ideas. And 6, uncomfortable conversations, they are worth gold if you're willing to learn from them. I want to focus on the environment for imagination. As somebody who works in education, this feels like my job, to cultivate curiosity and wonder. When the environment is right, when there's space to reflect, observe and notice, our perception shifts. A problem looks different, a scenario opens up, a stimulus speaks to you more clearly. In episode 9, with artist and educator Anthony Nicolau, we talked about how arts education can empower young people, fostering confidence, expression and critical thinking. Anthony shared his personal artistic influences and sources of inspiration, offering a real window into the creative process. I've also had some really, truly insightful conversations with people shaping our physical spaces, with storytelling at the heart of what they do. In episode 34, I chatted to Kim Heslip from Nest and Flourish about the transformative power of interior design and how our homes can shape the way we live, feel, and connect. We talked about inclusive, accessible spaces, thoughtful layout, and how your home can become a canvas for your story. And just last year, I spoke to Feng Shui consultant Lorraine Lewis about balance and intention. We explore colour theory, the Bagua map, and how the shape and layout of your home can either support or disrupt your energy flow. What I've learned from these conversations is that inspiration often emerges from attention and context, and quite often discomfort. There is nothing comfortable about hosting a podcast, which takes me right back to the 6th point in Guy's book. I've got some really important meetings lined up over the next couple of weeks, simply because I keep putting myself out there. I might not be using the right hooks, the right editing app, or jumping on the latest trends, 2016 I see you, but I've been much more interested in building my community offline recently. And speaking of that, last week, the Wilderness of Creativity hosted its 2nd Lost and Found workshop in collaboration with Amy Blakeman. Amy has almost 2 decades of experience in HR and qualified as a menstrual cycle coach in 2021. She now works with individuals and organisations to reshape how women's well-being is understood. The workshop felt like the perfect mix of creativity, science and real-life tools, so thank you to everyone who came along. This is a space I want to continue exploring this year, meeting you, the listeners, out in the wilderness, in real life, as Blue would say. Leading a workshop does feel uncomfortable. I'm stepping out of my comfort zone. It's not something that I have done a lot. And I'm embracing those challenges and those opportunities to grow, both personally and professionally. I've also been writing a big proposal recently, one that has stretched me. And it's made me wonder whether what started as a small idea might actually have legs. And that's part of the creative process too, isn't it? The moment when you realise the work might not belong solely to its original intention. We don't get to control that. You just need to stay present enough to listen to the whispers. 2 years ago, I had no idea I'd be hosting a podcast, and here we are. I really can't not mention the honour of being featured in the Women Who Podcast magazine. Wow. I am genuinely feeling inspired about what's next, and I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for commenting, for sharing, for your kind messages and encouragement. It means more than you know. And I want to shine a light back on those of you who have been here for such a long time, celebrating and supporting the wilderness of creativity. Leah, Carmela, Louisa, Thoughtify, Jo, Nisha, Nat, Laura May, and to all my guests and listeners. We're almost at 3,000 listeners now. And if I think about that too much, it does make me start to feel a bit wobbly. So here's my invitation to you this week. What has been quietly knocking at your door? What idea won't leave you alone? And what kind of environment do you need to notice it? If this episode has resonated, please do share it with someone who might need it. Leave a review, or better yet, step outside, change your scenery, and see what shows up. Before I go, I do want to finish by sharing a short verse called The Other Side by Patience Strong. Patience Strong was a popular pen name of Winifred Emma May, who was born in 1907 and died in 1990. She was an English poet and writer, famous for her uplifting, sentimental verses. They bring very simple messages of nature and resilience. The thing you thought disastrous has often proved to be a very blessing in disguise. At first, you could not see why it had to happen. Such a blow it was to you. The providential part of it was hidden from your view. All was dark, but slowly from the muddle and the mess, circumstances worked for you and brought you happiness. Never be embittered when you feel you've been hard hit. Trust and see what's waiting on the other side of it. It speaks of uncertainty, of trusting that beyond hesitation and fear, something meaningful waits, not loudly, but patiently. And perhaps that's what inspiration is after all. Until next time, thanks for listening. Stay wild.